Well, hello and welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today for another webinar presentation brought to you by Worldwide HealthStaff Solutions. My name is Ron Hoppy. I have the privilege of serving as CEO of Worldwide HealthStaff, and I'm excited to be joined this morning by Christle. She is a nurse that we have had the great privilege of working with, and she and her family are now here in the United States and have been here for some time and have been very kind to join us today and share a little bit about their story and their journey, and hopefully to provide you with some reassurance and some confidence as you prepare possibly for your imminent relocation, and also to answer any questions that we may have. Christle is also joined by her husband, Chuck, this morning.
That's my brother.
Your brother. I'm sorry. Your brother. Oh, my goodness. So, Chuck, welcome. Christle, welcome. As we go through our presentation today, on the right-hand section of your screen, or at least the right-hand section of my screen, there's an opportunity in the chat section for you to share any questions that you may have with us. I see Charles has already chimed in to let us know that he's joining us from Ghana. We always appreciate people on these sessions just saying hello in the chat and letting us know what country you're joining us from. We regularly have people on a session sometimes from 10 or even 20 different countries, and it's always of great interest to us to see where you're joining from. So with just sort of that very high level general introduction, I'd like to introduce to you first Christle Reboroso. Christle, thanks again for being a part of our presentation today. Can you just get us started this morning by just telling us and sharing a little bit about your background, please?
So I'm currently working right now here in Cookeville, Tennessee, which is Cookeville Regional Medical Center. Back then, I was working in the Philippines for 3 years and then moved to Saudi Arabia and worked there for 9 years as an ICU nurse. And then after that, after, of course, all those processing, passed the NCLEX exam, I moved here in the US last June 2022.
Okay, fantastic. And Chuck, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Take a moment and just to get started, just share at a high level a little bit about your background.
Sure. Well, I've been working as an operating room nurse for more than 4 years now in one of the hospitals here in our province, which is Ilocos Sur Medical Group, Cooperative Medical Group and Hospital. And I must say that I am really enjoying the work environment. And since I passed my NCLEX exam, I am currently processing it right now and waiting for that to be finished.
Okay, so you're working on preparing for the NCLEX exam. Awesome. So, Christle, your first question maybe for you is, your journey from the Philippines to Saudi Arabia to Cookeville, Tennessee, which probably isn't a location that too many of our guests today have heard of. Tell me just a little bit about your, what that journey was like for you, and what your just general experience has been living and working in Cookeville to this time.
Oh, it was really a roller coaster at first,
Okay.
taking the NCLEX exam and then IELTS exam. But it was worth waiting for, because I can say that I am very happy wherever I am right now, especially here in Cookeville, because I can say in our place right now, it's very peaceful. And also the working environment here is, I'm enjoying the teamwork in our unit right now. That's why it's really a great opportunity to be here right now to share and inspire my fellow nurses.
Yeah, good. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that really is the purpose of our presentation today for our guests that are joining us from places like Qatar and Kenya, Philippines, Nigeria, Brazil. Really nurses from all over the world, is really to provide encouragement, because the process is not a short process. It's not simple, right? Christle, maybe just share with our guests a little bit about what you found to be maybe the most difficult part of the process, or a particular point in the process where you may have been discouraged by what was happening, and kind of how you worked through that, and how you were able to be successful as part of that.
Well, I know a lot of my fellow nurses can relate to this. And I think the most difficult part of the process is taking the IELTS exam.
Well, really? Okay.
yeah,
Interesting.
actually, I delayed taking the IELTS exam. It's because maybe English is not my native language, and I was really afraid and anxious to take the exam before, because there's a specific score that I need to achieve. And actually, that was one of the reasons why it also delayed my application here before. Because imagine, I passed my NCLEX exam November 2019 and took my IELTS exam December 2020. So it take months for, thank God, I got the score that I needed for my visa screening that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Awesome. Chuck, as you're working through the process right now, maybe just share kind of how that's going for you. What challenge you might be facing, and just sort of the things that you're doing to ensure that you can continue to move forward in the process.
Yeah, I think it's very important for us to provide all the documents that is needed so that it will be processed right away. But in terms with the difficulties that I've encountered while I'm processing my documents was also my IELTS exam when I was taking that before. Though I passed my PTE, which is the one of the English exams before that we
Right.
have. Mhm. Yeah, but then there was actually a problem with the Tennessee state wherein they actually changed the accepted English exam. So I need to take another English exam, which is IELTS.
Okay. So you're preparing for that now?
Yeah, I actually passed my IELTS and
Oh, okay.
got the
Awesome.
required scores already. So right now, my case managers are actually processing all the papers that I have so that I could go there as well in US.
Yeah. Awesome. Very, very good. Uh, Chrisel, just recap maybe for our guests. When you think back from the time that you first started your journey to the U.S. until the time you actually arrived, about how long did that take altogether?
Yeah, actually, during my time, it was the peak of the pandemic, and the embassy interview was kind of limited, and also the retrogression affected my timeline. So I received a job offer on November 21, 2019, and Worldwide immediately processed my application until we arrived here in the US last June 29, 2022. So it took me like 2 years to come here in the Philippines. But there's a lot of factors why why it
Yeah.
took me 2 years to come here.
Okay. So, somebody might hear 2 years and take that as being good news, and others might take that as being bad news. But I think the point that everybody should take away, and Chrysler, I'd be interested in your thoughts on this, is regardless of how long the process is, firstly you have to start, right? If you
Yeah.
never start, you're never going to arrive. Number one. Number two, the process may take longer than we hope it would take, but the process works, right? If you follow the steps,
Mm.
you will get the outcome, right? So it may not be as fast as you would like, but there are no shortcuts. So if you follow the steps, it will work, right? And
Yeah.
really, in the big scheme of um, a person's career, a lifetime, 2 years is not that big of a time frame for something that really significantly changes your life. So, Crystal, just any thoughts just on being patient, being persistent through the process? Maybe just share a little bit about how you kept yourself focused over the course of these 2 years to see it through to a successful completion.
Yeah, I can say that while waiting, you need to stay focused on your goal, enjoy the process of waiting, enhance your skills, your knowledge, and attitude wherever you are right now. It's because when you will come here in the US, they have high expectation from us, especially if they knew that you have already years of experience. So
Yeah,
just enjoy wherever you are right now.
yeah,
And as you've said a while ago, Sir Ron, hope just comply with all the requirements that needed for the immigration processing.
yeah. Chuck, just interested also in your thoughts. You're kind of going through all this now. Interested in just how you're approaching this process, and just sort of managing your expectations. Just interested in hearing from you about those things.
Well, if you actually have dreams in life, it is really important that you need to keep the desire burning to achieve that goal. Although there might be difficulties or delays or failures that may arise as you walk along to your journey, but it shouldn't stop you there. So you just need to continue, although it might be hard in the beginning, but you just need to take the first step and everything will follow.
Yeah,
So
yeah, very good. I'll direct this next question to both of you. Interested in your thoughts. I know both of you have many nursing friends and colleagues, I'm sure, all over the world, and I'm sure some or many of them have also completed their journey to the U.S. or in the process of completing their journey to the U.S. Just be interested in having you share from your perspective the importance of working with a reputable agency to help you through that process, both based on your experience and maybe the experience of your friends or colleagues. Chrysler, why don't you start?
Yeah. Worldwide helped me throughout my journey here in the US. And before I decided to apply in Worldwide, I've heard a lot of positive feedbacks about you guys, about Worldwide. That's why, without a doubt, I've chosen them as my direct hire agency. And as I mentioned a while ago, I met you in Riyadh before, Sir Ron. And I remember you encouraged me to take an NCLEX exam, and I can say that you are really approachable and very enthusiastic to help nurses to be here in the US. And now I am living my American dream through the help of Worldwide Health, and I'm forever grateful to you, Sarod, and the rest of the team.
Right. Are either of you aware of maybe any unfortunate circumstances where maybe one of your colleagues didn't have, the type of experience that you had working with us?
Yeah, I have some of my friends, who were affiliated to some other agencies that until now they're still waiting for their papers to be processed. That's why I'm always telling them why not apply here in Worldwide, because I can say that the processing in Worldwide is very fast as long as we will submit all the papers that needed to be for the immigration.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. We did title this presentation today "A Day in the Life of a USRN." So I'd like to kind of pivot our conversation and just talk a little bit about, when you first arrived, right? When you first arrived in the
Motion
US,
detected at the porch.
kind of, what was
Motion
that
detected
like?
at the porch.
What was that like for you? That first week or 2 weeks, what did you experience? What were you feeling at that time? Let's start with the early your early days in the U.S.
At first, actually, we were very blessed. It's because I have already friends. I mean, my other fellow nurses who came here earlier than us. So when our first days or first weeks here in America, our apartment were already prepared. We already ordered some of our, appliances or that we can use in our apartment because we have already our address here in the U.S. And then as I've said a while ago, Cookville is really a nice place. It's very peaceful, and we love nature. So before I started my work, we went to different places like those beautiful falls here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So your initial time in the U.S. was really, um, it sounds like a positive experience for you, in large part because you had the support of friends and colleagues. So really great. And talk to me a little bit about the first day you reported for work. What was that like? And just kind of getting acclimated to a new place of work.
Oh yeah, that I was very excited to go to work when my director called me. When do you want to start? And I said, on Monday. When I got my SSN, I already sent an email to our HR employer. Hey, I already got my SSN because they need my SSN.
Right.
Even the copy, they are accepting that one. And I told to my director I can start as soon as possible, as early as possible. It's because of course we need money.
Yeah. Okay.
So we were very excited, and I'm very blessed because I work in Saudi Arabia before, which is also a JCI accredited, and it's almost the same setup here in the U.S. We have, I mean, the different is that we have different routines or what, but the policy is almost the same. The policy and standard here in the U.S. is almost the same that we have in Saudi Arabia. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm very blessed to be part of ICU critical care unit because the working environment is really enjoyable, especially the teamwork there.
Okay. Now you said the setup was very similar. What differences, if any, did you find between your practice setting here in the U.S. versus the environment that you were working in while you were in Saudi Arabia?
Mm, I can say some of the equipments, though it's almost the same, but we have different equipments here. And also the electronic system, because in Saudi Arabia we have Epic, and here it's what we call Paragon. So we have different electronic systems, some of the machines, and some of the routines. And uh, the most, one of the routine that they have here or policy that they have here is the what shocked me most during my first month or first weeks is they have this comfort measure that we are calling.
Okay, for patients.
Yeah, for patients.
And
Yeah.
just kind of very briefly, how does that differ from the policy, or lack of policy in Saudi Arabia?
Well, because Saudi Arabia is really, Saudi Arabia is really a religious country. There are some restrictions that we cannot do there compare here in the US. So
Right.
I was really shocked that time, but thankfully my director and my colleagues are very helpful and very considerate.
Okay. Chuck, you're still going through the process. What sort of things are you doing now to help prepare yourself for the time that you'll be starting to work in the U.S.?
Yes. Well, during my interview with Cookville Medical Center or with my employer, they told me that I need to practice my skills and also to be involved or have an experience to a larger hospital. So right now, I'm still on my area, which is operating room. So I still continue to upgrade my skills, and I'm also planning to take trainings to a larger hospital so that I could have a smoother transition if if I already went there in USA.
Okay. All right, very good. Uh, Crystal, we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but I just want to maybe revisit this and maybe just expand a little further. And that is, just for you to share advice that you might offer to guests that are, just starting the process or thinking of starting the process in terms of, what advice would you give someone that's at the front end of this process in terms of what they should be focused on most strongly?
Yeah. As I've said a while ago, enjoy the process of waiting wherever you are, whatever you have right now, enhance your skills, get certified, especially during my experience, based on my experience when I was still waiting for my interview in the embassy, I was able to take and pass my certification in critical care unit. So just do something that can add value to your career, and yeah, enjoy your time with your family, especially if you will come here alone, and enhance your knowledge and attitude while waiting.
Okay, very good. Now, you've been able to share with us today, your experience through the immigration journey, your experience getting started at work, and I think it's fair to say that overall you've had a very positive experience. But I'm also fairly confident. I haven't asked you this question before, but I'm also fairly confident that it hasn't always been sunshine and roses every day.
Yeah.
That just naturally there would have been some challenges along the way. So, if you feel comfortable sharing just, what you found to be some challenges during the process, and then even once you got here, what are some of the things that were maybe a bit of a struggle or a challenge for you?
Mm. Because as I've said a while ago, the most challenging part was taking an IELTS exam.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can think other, maybe other one is that earning a pocket money going here in the US, especially maybe in the Philippines. I'm not degrading their salary whatsoever, but coming here in the US, you really need to have that money
Yeah.
for to start your life here in the
Yeah.
US.
So someone who's coming here as a single person, is there an amount or a range, approximate range of the amount of funds that you would recommend that someone have with them when they arrive?
Yeah. So that's why before coming here, they need to know the cost of living of that state wherever they want to go, that for them to prepare. And it is also advisable that if you knew someone in that state, you can ask, you can search, so that you will be more prepared in coming here in the US. So when we came here in Cookville last 2022, honestly, we have like $10,000 as our pocket money. It's
Hmm.
because we need to purchase car, we need to pay for for a down payment for our apartment, and to
Yeah.
buy some stuff. So yeah, maybe 5,000 to 10,000 is enough.
Okay. Really, really good advice, Chuck. Um, just in terms of, as you're sort of mentally preparing yourself for work, what are some of the challenges that you think you might encounter when you first start working here in the US?
Well, I think it could be the setup, the hospital, because it's different here in the Philippines and in the USA. So I might be adjusting with the environment, the working environment, and also with the equipments, because here in our hospital we are only using um, few instruments and equipments, which is actually different in USA. So that could be the adjustment. that may happen once I work there in USA.
Okay. All right. Christle, you've shared you're having a positive experience working at Cookeville there in Cookeville, Tennessee. What advice, might you offer to someone who's just at the front end of this journey in terms of things that they should be looking for or thinking about when they select an employer for themselves, right? There's many different agencies, different employers offering all kinds of different things. But just from your experience, what are the things that a colleague, one of your colleagues, should be thinking about and should be looking for as they consider, the various opportunities presented to them?
Yeah. So I believe there is no perfect employer.
Okay.
So first they need to know which state they want to go, and then after that get to know more about the place, like the cost of living, work environment, the taxes, and also the weather.
Mm-hmm.
And before they will accept the offer, they need to consider the rate if they can live comfortably in that place. Just like in my experience, the cost of living here in Tennessee is low compared to other states. And not to brag, but to inspire, but by the grace of God, we were able to purchase a house within a year
Well,
and a
congratulations.
car. Yeah, so yeah, they need to know more. They need to know first which state they want to go and then search everything about that place.
Yeah. How did you decide on Tennessee?
Oh, yeah, same questions from my friends, but I can say that Tennessee is really a comfortable place that to live in, especially here in Cookville. It's very peaceful. It's very quiet. I can say that the crime rate here is very low, especially here in our community. And there's a lot of churches, I mean Christian churches here in our community. And I really enjoyed working in my current employer right now, especially in ICU. I really
Mhm.
enjoyed the working environment, the teamwork that we have in our unit. So,
Okay.
so yeah, and finally we decided to purchase a house here. And of course, my brother is coming because he will be working here in Cookville Regional Medical Center also. And recently, my brother from South Dakota moved here also in Tennessee. So one of the reasons why,
You're having a family reunion.
yeah, we're having a
Yeah.
family reunion.
Well, Chuck, you better be on your very best behavior because your sister's looking out for you. So, um,
Yes.
you've got to be a good brother for sure. Uh, as we go through the process, Christle, you've mentioned a couple times enjoying your work, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I think, just so very, very important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Work is an important part of all of our lives, so enjoying your work is important. You said one of the things I noted that you said was that there was good teamwork where you were. But
Yes.
just share with our guests today, specifically what is it about Cookville as an organization, that you have found to be positive for you.
Well, it's actually Cookville Regional Medical Center is not that big hospital. Our I mean in ICU we have like 30 beds, and I can say we have work-life balance here.
Okay.
Yeah, we are catering different kind of cases, and I can say that I am very uh, that's why every time I go to work I'm very excited. It's because my colleagues are very helpful, like for example if we have a code blue or if we are admitting patient, like they are doing everything for me and I will just document. That's why I'm always encouraging those my fellow nurses that who wants to work here in the US to apply. I can say that apply here now. And I think worldwide is currently hiring right now
We
here in
are.
our hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. Very good. Speaking of work-life balance, right? This is something that's become a very high priority for many people.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of things do you do when you're not working? What do you enjoy doing outside of work hours or on your days off?
Yeah, if every Sunday we're going to church because that is my priority.
Yeah,
And we love traveling. So we visited different states already, like Las Vegas, California, Florida, and recently we went to Washington, D.C. So yeah, work-life balance is very important. We need to take care of ourselves because here in America, health is wealth.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure you're enjoying getting to see many different things in the U.S. and there's a lot more to see for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
There's,
And I hope I
there's,
can visit you there in South Carolina.
we're in North Carolina. We're in
North
Charlotte. Yeah,
Carolina.
yeah. You have a standing invitation. You are welcome at any time. All right. Um, just a couple of other things that we'd like to just chat about and have our guests be able to hear about as well. Um, we've talked about the timeline. We've talked about you got to get started. You got to stick with it, and if you do, you'll get a great outcome. But uh, Chuck, maybe I'll ask you this question first, and I'll ask it a little differently. What are you looking most forward to? Like when you think about living and working in the United States, what are you looking most forward to?
Well, I'm really looking forward to of course to see my siblings as well if they're in US and to bond with them because I really miss them. And also, I'm looking forward for a greater experience with the hospital that I'm going to work with, new environment and new colleagues. And I also want to experience the different weather, which is not the same here in Philippines, where we do have only like rainy days and summer. So I'm really looking forward to those things once
Yeah.
I got there in USA.
Okay. Right. Yeah. In the Philippines, the forecast is either hot or rain, or hot and rain.
That's right. That's correct.
All right. Crystal, all things considered, now that you've been here for a while, you're well established in your work. You have a beautiful new home. Just when you sit back and think about everything that's happened since you've arrived here in the US, what would you say is your favorite part of living in the United States?
All right. I
Good
know
question.
yeah, I know it's cliche to say this, but I'm always excited to receive my paycheck bi-weekly.
Okay. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's because I came from, Saudi Arabia and we are receiving our income there monthly, but here they are paying us weekly and I mean, if you will work, they will really pay you. If you have overtime, they will really pay you immediately after,
Mhm.
bi-weekly. So, yeah, and of course, traveling around the States, we have the privilege to travel around the world, I can say.
Mhm.
So that is the most exciting part for me living here in the US right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Well, I do certainly appreciate your insights and sharing from your personal experiences. Chuck, if there was anything else that you would want to say or share with those that have joined us today in terms of any advice that you might offer, what might that be?
Well, I'd say that they should never give up on their dreams. So there might be delays that may happen, but uh, they need to keep pushing their goals in life and and have this perseverance and determination to reach that goal and turn those dreams into reality.
Hmm? And Crystal, how about from your perspective, any last sort of advice or encouragement that you would offer to your colleagues who are, still in process or just beginning the process? Any
Yeah.
last words for them?
Yeah, just have faith, enjoy the process of waiting, further your experience, get certification, get certified in your specific field right now, and invest in learning, because there's always something new to learn every day. Don't stick to what you only knew. Always be open-minded when you will come here in the US, because here you will learn different things here. You need to be prepared enough when you will come here in the US.
Very
So
good.
yeah, we're very excited to, especially who will those who applied in CRMC. I already created a chat group for them. I'm in contact with those fellow nurses that will be coming here in the US. So you can send a message to me anytime, and when you will arrive here, don't worry because I know how it feels that you don't know anyone here in the state. We will be willing to help you guys here in Cookville.
Yeah, well, I can't think of anything more encouraging to hear than that. So thank you for sharing that. I've just had one additional question come to mind, Christle, and that is, you know, when you look out 3, 4, 5 years down the road, you know, given your experience thus far, have you given any thought to, um, what you think your career, your life might look like, a few years down the road, or goals that you have for yourself for the next few years?
Right now, I'm still enjoying what I have, where we are right now. But in few years, maybe I will be preparing for uh, national. I mean, for nurse practitioner.
Okay, so
Yeah,
possibly furthering your education is
yeah,
something you're thinking about.
maybe, maybe,
Okay.
or we don't know. Maybe I'm planning also to get my family here. I mean, my parents to
Okay.
come here in the U.S. So I'm very excited to be reunited with them, because it's been a long time that I did not go home to the Philippines since pandemic. It's been
Hmm.
like 4 to 5 years that I did not see my family. That's so maybe some of my goals will be like that. Yeah.
Very good. Chuck, thank you for joining us. You're going to
Yes.
be in very good hands when you arrive in Cookville. I'm highly confident of that.
Thank you, sir. Mhm.
Uh,
Yes,
just
definitely.
will make sure that he's behaving and you know doing all the right things. But thank you both. Just before we wrap up, we have kind of behind the scenes here our colleague Tracy, that's also been monitoring the chat. I think there's a few questions that have come in. So, Tracy, if you'd be kind enough and maybe just uh, bring up a couple of those questions, we'll take a few minutes to answer those um, while we're together here today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ron. And thank you, Christle. Thank you, Chuck, for the great insights that you shared. So I welcome your questions in the chat. I do have one ready to go. So go ahead and drop your questions there in the chat. And the first question I'd like to share with our panel is, how much is hourly pay or estimated hourly pay for an RN with 11 years experience?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll take the first crack at this answer, and the answer to the question is it depends. Right? Maybe not the greatest answer to the question, but it's true. It depends. Right? The U.S. is a very, very large country, right? With very large cities, world famous cities, smaller communities, etc. And the cost of living varies greatly, right? Varies greatly depending upon where you live in the U.S. So, and rates of pay are influenced very, very heavily by the local cost of living. So, to say that a certain amount, let's just say $35 an hour for discussion, it's not possible to simply say $35 an hour is a good rate or a bad rate, because it really depends, right? In some locations, $35 an hour is a really good rate. you can live comfortably. If you're getting paid $35 an hour in New York or San Francisco or Los Angeles, you're probably going to be living in a broom closet, right? Not a good rate. So, Christle, you had mentioned that Tennessee has a low cost of living compared to other places. So, do you have any thoughts that you would like to share with anyone about, what is how do you determine what is a good rate, what is not a good rate, etc.?
Well, based on my experience, with more than 10 years of experience, because I've been working in the ICU for 14 years now, I got an offer here, though it's not secret anymore. I got an offer here in CRM. At first, it was like $34 per hour. That was before pandemic. And then when I got an interview in the embassy, that is during pandemic already, and I think the inflation is really high that time. So they increased my salary from 34 to 36. And then recently they they increased again our salary up to $4. So it's more than like $40 per our salary, right? My salary rate right now is more than $40 plus already, because I'm working in ICU. So if they were going to work in a critical unit or special unit, they will add something like $2 in their salary
Okay.
rate. So
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's really important, I think, to, as you're considering opportunities, to also inform yourself and learn about, obviously the hourly rate of pay is important to all of us, right? Want to get paid as much as possible, but please don't be misled by a high rate of pay that may be related to a very, very high cost of living. So, um, here at Worldwide HealthStaff, we have some resources to help you do some of that evaluation for yourself. There's also a number of really credible websites where you can go and do cost of living comparisons between different U.S. locations. One that we like to use a lot is bankrate.com. And if you go on bankrate.com and just look for the cost of living calculator, you can see for yourself just how great the disparity is in cost of living between different U.S. locations. Tracy, any other questions?
Yes. In fact, I'm getting ready to drop that link to the cost of living calculator in the chat right now. That's great. There we go. Yeah, cost of living is key to that. Great question from Joel, who asked, can I come as a registered nurse fresh from college without experience?
So Joel, generally the short answer to your question is no. And it's no for a couple of reasons. One, there is a shortage of nurses in the U.S., but that shortage relates primarily, very strongly, to nurses that have experience. The number of new graduates in the United States is currently at an all-time high. So U.S. employers, in many cases, are able to hire all the new graduates with no experience that they are able to accommodate. So they're not going to make the investment of time and effort and resources to bring someone from abroad with no experience when that type of candidate is fairly readily available here. If you're a new graduate, the best advice I can give you is to gain bedside nursing experience. If your home country is the Philippines and you're able to do that in the Philippines, great. If not, please look at opportunities to gain bedside experience, maybe in the Middle East, one of the Gulf countries. But for your application to be seriously considered by any U.S. employer, you're going to have first passed the NCLEX exam, and you should really have a minimum of 2 years of work experience at the time that you first interview with a U.S. employer.
All right. Thank you. Here's a great question from Japs. in Christle, you may like this question or can provide a good answer for this. Tell us something about taxation in the United States, coming from Saudi Arabia as well.
Okay.
Oh,
Crystal, yeah, I'll let you take the first crack at that one.
That's a big. Actually, there's really a big difference coming from income tax free country like Saudi Arabia. That's what shocked me the most here in the US, plus deductions like Social Security and Medicare. But thank God we're still be able to save. Like after all those taxes and deductions, we're still be able to save. And as I've said a while ago, we were able to purchase our house within less than a year. So, yeah, I think it depends on how you will budget your income wisely despite of all those taxes and deductions, because here in America it's not all free. Unlike
Yeah.
in Saudi Arabia, we can get our income like as a whole income without any deductions. We don't have any insurance there. We don't have social security there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's right. I would just add this as well. So, in the United States, there are certain deductions that your employer makes. The government requires these deductions to be made, but it's not that this money is being taken from you and it just kind of disappears and there's never any benefit to you, right? So, in the United States, there is something called Social Security, which is a government retirement scheme, so that as you reach a certain age, either 62 or 65 or some age above that, the contributions that are taken from your paycheck are invested by the government on your behalf, and you will receive a form of a pension on a monthly basis, essentially for the rest of your life. Likewise, some of the deductions that go towards uh, medical care later in life. So once you hit age 65 in the US and you've been contributing to Medicare, Medicaid, you are then eligible for a wide array of healthcare services that are essentially provided by the government. So tax is an issue, but it's also comes with some benefits that you don't have, right? That you don't have in places like Saudi Arabia, where you have no security, right? You don't have security of your visa. You can be asked to leave at any time, and also financial security for your future. So, I think the big question is, taxation obviously is of interest. I think the bigger question is, standard of living. What standard of living can you achieve living in the US versus living in other countries? And hopefully, Chrysler's story is inspiring to you when you see the standard of living that she's been able to achieve in just a very, very short time living here in the United States. All right, Tracy, we'll take a couple more questions as we're coming up on time here, but we'll take a couple more.
All right, sounds good. And this one's a great teaser for an upcoming webinar event we have here in a couple weeks. The question is, what are your predictions about the Visa Bulletin for this fiscal year? Thanks in advance.
Yeah. So this is a dangerous question to respond to, because the truthful answer is nobody knows, right? Nobody knows for certain. Everybody, however, has an opinion, right? Everybody has an opinion. So right now, the Visa Bulletin is at November of 2022, and we're in April, so we're about halfway through the government fiscal year. I think it's entirely reasonable to expect that the Visa Bulletin is going to continue to move forward month by month. So each month it'll move forward by a month from now till the end of the year. I have no inside information. This is simply my opinion. based on sort of how this has worked in the past. So I think that by the end of September of this year, we should be looking at priority dates that have moved forward somewhere into April, May of 2023. And I think that I would be optimistic that it would be at least that and maybe a little better. But please, please, please hear me. Right. This is simply an opinion. We obviously monitor this issue very, very closely. But I guess the last thought I would say, and this point was made several times, to get here to the U.S. in the shortest possible time, the processing time, yeah, you'd like it to be faster, but it almost doesn't matter. Because if you start the process and follow the process, you will get here. So, fine to be watching the visa bulletin, but make sure you're doing all the other things that need to be done so there aren't delays in the processing of your application.
Very good.
All right, Tracy.
Okay, next question from Helen. You mentioned getting extra qualifications while waiting to move to the United States. Could you say whether extra qualifications gained in the Philippines are readily accepted in the US, or do you need to do additional training?
Yeah, I think the answer there again is it depends on what the nature of that additional training is and what those certifications are. I think first of all, I would encourage, to take as much additional training as you can. But, how that might be recognized here, I can't say without specifically knowing what that training is. Christle, do you have any thoughts or any suggestions that you would have for anyone thinking of taking some additional training before they get here in the U.S.?
Yeah, based on my experience, especially if you are working in a critical care unit, you can be certified as a critical care registered nurse, like the CCRN, which is really accredited here in the U.S., like just like the AACN. And if someone wants to take that certification, if they can visit my YouTube channel, I already made a step-by-step procedure in getting that certification and also some tips in taking the exam and and while reviewing. And I can say that, as I've said a while ago, while waiting, get your certification, because if you when you will come here in the US, that will really add value to your resume and even a dollar to your salary. So I can really advise to please don't waste your time while waiting. Get certification, especially if you are working in OR, in med surge, in critical care unit. There's a lot of certifications that they can have while waiting.
Okay, very good. Tracy, we have time for one more question, and then we're going to wrap up so we can stay to our commitment of having this presentation last for 1 hour.
All righty. Let's see here. I'm going to try to choose a really good one. Let's go with this one. All right. Question for everybody. What is the timeline for an immigrant to secure citizenship in the United States?
Good question. Here, there actually is a simple answer. It's 5 years.
5 years.
So from the time you arrive as a permanent resident, you can file to apply to become a U.S. citizen 5 years thereafter.
All right, good.
All right. Well, very good, Tracy. Thanks for keeping on top of the questions. Chuck, thank you very much for joining us. Good luck in the next step on your journey. It's our privilege to be working with you. Christle, thanks for taking a time out of your day and sharing your experiences. I know that it will have been very helpful and inspirational to many of our guests that joined us today. It's really great and encouraging to me to hear your story and to see the success that you've already achieved, and the success that I know you will achieve in the future. So thank you for that. For those of you that joined us today, I hope that you have found benefit from really the conversation we've had today. We've really not had a form of presentation, but I hope that you found this conversation to be helpful. We have up on the screen here a refer a friend slide. If you just quickly take note of the internet link there, if you follow that link, it'll take you to a page where you can get a lot more information on our referral program. It's really cool, it's fun, it's automated, it's simple, and we have some nurses that have already received payment for 10 referrals, 8 referrals, or in a couple cases even more. So if you're so inclined, we certainly invite you to check out and participate in our referral program. Please continue to follow us on Facebook and other social media platforms for information about further upcoming webinars. We generally have a webinar presentation on some topic of interest on a weekly basis, and we'd love to have you join us for one or multiple of those sessions in the future. So thank you to each of you for also taking a portion of your day today. Appreciate it very much. Tracy, thank you for your help. We look forward to connecting with each of you again. In the meantime, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd welcome your inquiry at any time. I wish you all a great rest of your day, and I wish you great success on your journey to the U.S., whatever stage you may be on. Don't be discouraged. Take heart, and very soon you'll be able to say, I've arrived in the United States. Thank you all. Bye for now. Hope to see you all soon.
Thank you.